Hey guys, so we made the long trip yesterday from Calgary to the west coast of Canada here. We got a late ferry, came over to Vancouver Island, and this morning we are off to Salt Spring Island, which is just a smaller one of the Gulf Islands just off of Vancouver Island. So we're gonna get there here shortly, and for this project, I mean, my main goal is again just to try and walk you through how to install your own lighting system. This is a fairly big one, so it gives us a good opportunity to really talk about some of the lights that we're going to use that are pretty standard in a lot of applications that we do, as well as just give you a little bit more detail of them so you know what you're going to be getting if you're buying one of our kits, or if you're looking for do-it-yourself lighting, kind of what the different options are. We got some really tall trees that we're going to be using, some slightly brighter bulbs because we need to push that light up. We're going to be doing some down lighting. We've got some new deck lighting stuff that we're doing, and there's three properties on this, three buildings on this property that we're all going to be working with. So a bunch of different little things that we can do. So we'll hope you guys enjoy this, and we'll try and get you some real nice footage from, in my opinion, one of the best places in Canada on the west coast here, just off Vancouver Island. So enjoy the rest of this video. It's really easy as long as you're using a good, efficient LED landscape light. Basically what you do is you take all your lights. So I'm going to say, for example, I've got 20 uplights, and they're all 5-watt LED lamps. Now the only thing to keep in mind is that the cheaper the quality of the light, the less you pay for it. There's something called their VA, which is basically their efficiency of the light, which if it says it's a 5-watt bulb, the cheaper quality of the light is, it's actually going to be using closer to 10 watts. Sometimes I've seen as high as double the actual wattage. So you want to be careful if you're saving money on lights because you're buying something off Amazon or in Home Depot. Just be aware you want to definitely size your transformer much bigger. If you're using a good contractor grade or professional light, you allow for maybe 20% extra of that VA. So a 5-watt light might be using 6 watts, maybe 7 watts. So always plan for that. Any of the good lights are going to tell you that. They're going to give you a VA on the box, which is going to tell you what you should actually plan your transformer for. So let's say you're looking at our standard RS uplight was a 4-watt LED bulb, which only uses about 4.2 watts, but let's say it's 5 just to keep math simple. Say we've got 20 of those lights. 20 times 5 is we have 100 watts. So the only thing we want to do is just make sure we size our transformer a little bit bigger than that so that we can add on later, and just in case there is any inefficiencies, we have a little bit of room. So we'll usually, size it maybe 20% larger just to be safe. If you know you want to add more later, then just go a little bit bigger than that. But basically that's it. The reason that you still see a lot of 600, 900 watt transformers out there, again, is because there's still a lot of, I'll call them old school guys that still install halogen lights, where you needed those bigger transformers because there was just so much wattage with all the lights that are on the system. If you're using a good LED system, I'm going to tell you that you probably don't need anything bigger than 300 watts, because if you're putting that many lights on, you're probably going to be spread out so far that you're going to want another transformer anyways. So we basically carry two models. We carry a good stainless steel 150 watt and a good stainless steel 300 watt. That's it. It doesn't matter if you use a 300 watt and you only put a couple lights on it. It's really not going to affect your system that much. You just probably don't need to spend the extra money to do that. But if you wanted to, and future expansion, all that kind of stuff, you definitely can. Anything that's under 100 watts, I'll tell you right now, there's not a lot of good options. There's a lot of Econo transformers that we actually used to sell some of them, and not that they were bad, but I know they don't last. We've quit selling anything that we get called out to repair or replace all the time, and that's why there's a very limited number of fixtures and products on our website, because I don't want to sell you guys the garbage that I know is just going to break down. So we're going to give you, the best of the best, the quality that's not going to break your bank account, but that we know is going to last. But basically, in short, that's how you size your transformer. Add up the wattage of all your lights, and then just make sure you size that transformer about 20% higher. The less efficient, the cheaper the light, size it a little bit more. So another question I always get asked about low voltage wiring and transformers and all that kind of stuff is polarity. Does it matter? Do I have to have the same cable going to each light? And the answer is no. Basically, as long as you have one wire in your common tap and one in your voltage terminal, whether it be a 12 volt terminal or 15 volt terminal, it doesn't have to be consistent throughout the run. As long as each one of those fixtures has two of those wires going to it,
That's all that matters. And really, polarity is not an issue when it comes to low voltage lighting. So in short, do you need to really worry about polarity? No. I wanted to also talk about making your controllers Wi-Fi really cost effectively and also running multiple zones. There is transformers out there where you can have one transformer that runs, say, a zone for your front and a zone for your back. In all honesty, they're pretty confusing to work, and they get quite expensive, and there's some limitations and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to tell you a real cost-effective way of doing that, especially if you only have, like, say, a front yard and a backyard zone. If it doesn't matter, then just run them all off the same transformer. But if you want to control them separately, front yard, backyard, with simple on-off functions, the best way to do it is just with a simple Wi-Fi timer like this. So this is one we've used for a long time. It's from Wion. It works, it's weatherproof, it's great outdoors. There's literally tons of models out there that you can use. We just use this one because this is what we know, and we haven't had a lot of issues with it. But basically all we've done is we've taken just a standard transformer that all it has is a simple on-off switch inside here that you flick on or off. And to bypass that, instead of putting like a photocell where now, we got to be conscious of where we're putting that transformer so it's not in the shade so our lights don't come on too early, what we've done is two ways you can do this. One is we've basically just taken our Wi-Fi timer, we've plugged it into our outlet, and then we've plugged our transformer into there. Sometimes the reason I like doing that is just because when you put these little things inside the box, which I'll show you, the Wi-Fi signal isn't as strong. It's sometimes cause some issues. But if you want to put it inside, it's pretty easy. You'll see the transformers and any of the good ones that you'll buy, not the Malibu or Moonrays or Hampton Bay or any of those garbage ones, but a good solid stainless steel one is going to have a setup like this where you have an on-off switch, and then you've got this little plug in here. And all you basically have to do is take this plug out and you plug your timer into there, and then you plug this back into there, and then all of a sudden that's inside, but this operates as what it would be like a photocell. And all this is, if you had any kind of old timer or photocell, it basically plugs into this kind of thing too. So that's how you make your system a Wi-Fi. And it doesn't matter if you have a smart home system and they make a compatible outdoor outlet, then just use that. If you have you're plugging on a Wi-Fi switch already that's inside the house, well then you don't even need that, because basically you can just plug this in, leave it in the on position, and then you control everything from whatever your smart home system is. And the reason I say that's a cost-effective way is because now if you want to do the front and the back, it's typically going to be cheaper for you just to get two transformers, two smart devices, and have a front and a back zone, as opposed to going and buying one of the programmable zoning ones. And not that I've got one in my house. I get my stuff at cost, so I don't mind paying for it. But I know that a lot of you, and even myself, if I had to pay full price, I might not be paying for that zoning option. Because realistically, it's not something that we use a whole ton in a much more affordable way. Simple transformer, Wi-Fi timer, and you're set. Mounting your transformer, another question I get all the time. In this case, we've just mounted it straight to the house, straight to the structure. This is a part of the house that nobody really sees. It's well enough hidden. We have our outlet, and it's solid enough. I don't have to worry about drilling through concrete or anything like that. So in this case, we just mounted it directly to the house. Try and keep it about 12 to 18 inches above the ground, just because, not that they put out a lot of heat, but they can put out a little bit of heat, and you just want to keep that, above the ground. But if you don't have that option, or it's your house is concrete, or you don't know what's there and you don't want to be drilling into the house, which I hate drilling into houses unless I know what's there. Usually what we'll do is I'll just go get a nice 4x4 cedar post, because I know it's going to last. I might go to the deck section in my home improvement store and get like a nice little cap for the top of my 4x4 post. I'll dig that in a bit, bury that in, and then I'll just mount my transformer to that. And the reason I like doing that too is because then if you ever decide to move your transformer, you're not having to worry about patch up holes in your house. So a simple 4x4 post is a nice way to go and mount your transformer. It's clean, it's easy, and it just eliminates you having to drill more holes into the side of your house.
Okay guys, one of the last steps now is controlling your transformer. How do I go do that? Our transformer has a simple on-off switch, but you don't want to be coming out in the middle of the night flicking your transformer on and off. So two options. One, a simple option. I'm not a huge fan of photocells because they tend to fail, but it's basically going to read the sunlight, and it's going to turn your lights on and off with dusk and dawn. Super easy to just basically plug into your transformer. And then there's a little cutout here that you just leave this out, and then it's going to read the sun and dawn and dusk settings, and it's going to turn your lights on and off for you. So that's a real simple way of doing it. But the only downside to that is you can't put your transformer inside, and you got to be careful that it's not in too shaded of a spot. What we like to use is a smart plug. Now this is the one that we use. This one's from Wion. It works great. It lasts outside. It's got an extra outlet too, so that if you wanted to go plug your Christmas lights in, you can do that, and you can all run it on the same app. So that's why I like this. I know that it works, but you can use any smart timer, and basically two options. You can either plug it inside the transformer or you can plug it outside the transformer. If you don't have great Wi-Fi, you might want to plug it outside the transformer. But if you're going to plug it in the transformer, you basically just take this plug out, plug your timer in there, and then you take this plug and you plug it back into your timer. And then you're going to close that up in there, and then you're good to go. Download the app, go through the steps. You can still set dawn and dusk settings, so it just goes on with sunlight, but now it's going to use your geographic location as opposed to having a photocell that has to read the sun. But you can also have up to 5 other timer options with the smart timer. That's why I like it. You can turn your lights on and off from anywhere. It's a great option. If you don't have great Wi-Fi and you can't put it inside the box because maybe it's not reading it, well, it's pretty simple. You can just go plug it into the wall, into your outlet, and then your plug that's coming off your transformer, you just plug that into your timer, you plug that into the wall, leave this in the on position, and then everything's going to run through your timer. So again, if you have a smart system and you already have smart plugs, well, then you can just go plug your transformer into that, leave this in the on position, and then you can operate it on the same platform that you already have. And that's a simple way to go and make your transformer a smart transformer. We're getting pretty close to getting wrapped up this project. We've got all our lights in, so basically, you know, our first step was we took a design and we went and chose all our lights. What was cool about this one is, you know, this is a client who actually had emailed in pictures for a free consultation, and because it was on Vancouver Island, we were able to do it. So we looked through all his pictures, we gave him some recommendations, and then we gave him a price to actually install it, which is not always the case because some of you guys are far away. I wish we could, but we just can't. But what was cool is then we got on site, and a lot of what we had determined from the pictures were very accurate. So we already had a pretty good idea of what we were going to do, how many lights, and we're able to size the transformers beforehand. But sometimes, and is often the case, we get on site and there's some things we want to add or some things we want to take away. So so that's how we go and then determine our transformer. So we'll always try and determine that based on a design, but the key is just leave it a little bit bigger if you're not sure, because you always want to make sure you have enough room. And if you're using an LED system, it's not as crucial that you get it the exact transformer as when you had a halogen system. With a halogen system, you had transformers that had multiple taps, and you really had to be careful that you were getting the right voltage to the right lamps, or you were just going to burn them out a lot quicker. But if you're getting an LED system, a lot of times you'll see on the box it'll say that your LED is usually rated from 9 volts all the way to 15 volts, which means it's going to operate within that range, whereas halogens was usually between 11 and 12, so you really had to do your math. With LED, that eliminates a lot of that. So a general rule of thumb, and if you have more questions about sizing your transformer and voltage drop and all that, go to YouTube and just search lighting doctor voltage drop. There's a video where I go into a lot of detail and show you a chart and everything. But general rule of thumb, on 300 feet of wire, you can put up to 100 watts and not really have any voltage drop issues, as long as you're using a larger transformer like this that has a 15 volt tap, which means you're starting at 15 volts and all the way down the line you might get down to 10 volts, but that's still going to run that light, and it's still going to be as bright as it should because that bulb is rated from 9 to 15 volts. Again, assuming it's a good one. That's why we always say not all products are created equal, so you have to do some due diligence there. We do a lot of that in our kits, but just buyer beware.
So basically, it's really simple to go and size your transformers. You take all your lights, you add up all the wattage of all the lights. So if you have a bunch of 5-watt uplights and you've got, let's call it 20 of them, well that comes out to 100 watts. But you want to size that transformer a little bit larger because depending on the efficiency of that bulb, the more efficient it is, the closer that actual wattage is going to be to 5 watts. But the least efficient or the lesser efficient bulbs are going to sometimes be almost 10 watts, even though the box says 10 watts, and that's something called their actual, it's called their VA, their actual wattage. So you got to be careful about that. That's why I always say size it a little bit more. But general rule of thumb, add up all your lights, and then size your transformer 20, 30, 40% more than that. If you don't want to have to worry about voltage drop, get a good transformer that has a 15-volt tap, and you can run 100 watts on 300 feet of line without running into that issue of losing any brightness at the end of the line. But that's basically it when it comes to a transformer. The only other thing I was going to mention is the timer options. Now, you see a lot of the dinosaur looking timers where it's this little digital or this little analog wheel that you got all these little tabs you got to stick out. They got these different digital timers that you got to be a rocket science to operate. The nice thing is that a transformer like this, we use one of these. It's from Wion. It's a Wi-Fi timer. But basically, there's dozens of these on the market, and if you have a smart home system, have a look if they already have an outdoor plug, because that's all this is. It's basically a Wi-Fi plug for outdoors, and all you have to do is now, when you go plug this transformer into your GFCI receptacle, all you're going to do is you're going to flip this into the on position. So you're just going to leave your transformer in all the time. But this little thing here, where usually you would have a photocell, which again I highly recommend against because photocells just fail all the time. You have to have your transformer in the right position, because if it's in a dark shaded position, your lights are going to be on all the time. So all those kinds of things. But to get back to it, basically where it says to plug in your timer or your photocell or whatever, all you have to do is unplug that, plug in your Wi-Fi plug, whether that be this one or whether that be one based on the smart home system you have. Go and plug it into there, and then you plug this guy into your plug-in, and then you just close that up, leave it in the on position, and then you can go and operate everything from your Wi-Fi plug. And usually most of these, you don't need a hub anymore. They have their own app, so you can just go download it, and it usually walks you through how to do that in 2 or 3 steps, and all of a sudden now you have a Wi-Fi landscape lighting system, but you haven't paid tons and tons of money for it. Another thing that we do a lot of times, because I get asked all the time, well, in my front yard, my backyard, I want to be able to zone them different so I can turn them on at different times, kind of like a sprinkler system. There is some really good systems that are out there that do that. They tend to be quite costly. They're great systems, but it depends on your budget. If you don't want to do that and spend that kind of money on a system, just go and use a separate transformer. In this case, on this project, that's what we're doing. We've got one of these for the backyard and one for the front. Luckily, because we have this timer, we can run both those controllers on the exact same app and set them up with totally different schedules, which is what's cool about going and adding something like this to your transformers. And it doesn't have to be this one. It can be basically any outdoor Wi-Fi plug that you go plug into here is going to work. So make your life a lot easier. Turn your transformer into a Wi-Fi system, go and size it properly, be safe, build it, select it larger in case you want to add on down the road too. So hopefully that helps answer your transformer questions. But like I said, if you need more definition on voltage drop and stuff, go to YouTube and search voltage drop lighting doctor, and I guarantee you'll find something. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys got some great do-it-yourself landscape lighting tips. Now, please be sure to go to our website at lightingdoctor.ca and check out our how-to page. It's full of great resources, from our podcast to our video to our most frequently asked questions. And also check out our Try It Before You Buy It light, where you can actually go now and get one of our premium quality uplights and a King Innovation Insta-Light, which is basically a battery pack now that allows you to go and run those lights and test them out on your property. Try it for 14 days. If you don't love it, send it back to us and we'll give you a full refund. And if not, you keep the light at a discounted rate and go and buy what you need for your project. So thanks again for watching. Please be sure to leave us a comment. We love your feedback. Have a great day.